Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm going to be working in this book, Tales from the Forest Kingdom by Hanna Karlzon. This page has been on my radar for a little bit. I love this big troll-like creature holding an umbrella for the kids. And we've been getting a lot of rain here where I live, which is so good for us since I live in the desert, so very much needed. But yeah, I kind of felt like doing some rainy day page. So I wanted to try out a rain background. I've saved some images that I like the look and mood of these. And then I was watching some completed pages videos on YouTube and came across this channel, Crafty Chemist, and I just really love how she did the background on this page and thought I could figure out how to do that and fit it for this rainy look. One of the things she said she used was Graphitint, which I have, and I actually really like using them, and I don't use them enough. And this is a great set. It has, I think it has most of the color. I don't know how many colors they have actually, but this has like a pretty good range of colors, and it has them in pencil and in paints. Some of the colors repeat. Let's see. Oh, it's Meadow. Meadow repeats in both pencil and paint. But other than that, I think there's a good variety of colors. And I think the gray kind of muted tones will help with this gloomy, rainy mood that I want. So I will do some real-time coloring, speed coloring, and off-camera work, but I do my best at trying to explain what I'm doing. All right, so let's get started. All right, I'm going to pick some colors from the Derwent Graphitint set for the sky and for the ground. I'm going to grab the white because I know I'll need that for the lighter part of the sky. And then Midnight Black, which doesn't get too dark. Cloud Gray. And maybe some of this Storm, which is kind of like a purplish gray. All right, so that'll be for the sky, and then for the ground, I'm gonna do Meadow. And I want some kind of muddy looking areas, so a nice brown. Let's use Russet. All right, and then since that Midnight Black isn't too dark, I might need to darken the streaks up just a little bit. So let me pull one from the Derwent Inktense set. And this is the Ink Black. All right, we'll see how that does. To help give this page a little bit more depth, I'm going to add a horizon line just above the troll's shoes. And I'm going to do it really lightly at first, and then I'll go in and darken it up. All right, now I'm going to add some scribbles of this green color around, not being very careful. I just want random areas of like some greenery on that ground. And then so somewhat hard pressure, but other areas I can do lighter pressure. All right, and then now doing the same thing with that russet brown color. That way it looks like there's some muddy spots around the ground. All right, now taking a water brush to activate those colors. This brush is kind of a small to medium flat brush. All right, now I think I want a light green haze coming up from that ground line into the sky. So I'm going to use the green, this is Meadow, same as the pencil, but I can, maybe control the lightness a little bit better. So yeah, I'm just coming right up next to that line and brushing it upwards, kind of feathering it out as it goes up into the sky. Okay, for the sky, I want there to be a big difference between the area under the umbrella to the rest of the sky. So I'm not going to worry too much about the streakiness of this lighter area. This is cloud gray, and I'm using a medium pressure to color in this area. All right, and then I'm taking the white to loosely color over the top. So still going in a vertical motion and about a medium to hard pressure, just kind of filling in all the rest of the space going on top. Now I'm using the Meadow and just very lightly adding some green, almost as if you can barely see some of the green out in the distance. For the rest of the sky, I'm going to start out with that midnight black, applying it in a vertical, rough, like flick-like streaks. I do the same thing, but with the cloud gray, and concentrating on filling in the empty areas. Now I'm adding more distinct lines with the Inktense. This is the ink black, and I'm not adding as many lines as the first two colors, but yeah, just still keeping it kind of random and messy. All right, this is the Storm color, kind of that purplish gray color, and I'm putting that in some of the corners and edges just to darken up those areas. All right, now to activate, I'm using a larger flat brush. I'm going to start in this lighter area first, and I'm still maintaining that vertical movement. This one I can blend in more, kind of smoosh those colors around. Again, remember this lighter area, I'm not worried too much about the streakiness. I'm just wanting it lighter and different than the rest of the sky. All right, and then for the rest of the sky, same movements, just going in that vertical up and down movement. This one, I don't want to blend it too much. I still want to maintain those rough lines. And if there's any lines that are too harsh, then I can just kind of, take the water brush again, add more water to it, and kind of blend it out a little bit more. All right, I've let that dry just a little bit, and I think I want to go back in and add some white streaks here. So I'm going to add that and probably just fill in a little bit more with the gray, maybe even the midnight black. Okay, I'm taking that midnight black and I'm just barely touching this to the page, just giving it just some very light streaks. Moving on to the umbrella, I'm going to use Inktense for those, and I'm going to use this cadmium yellow, this amber color, and Ionian green. And I'm going to start with the cadmium yellow to give a little highlight at the top of these leaves. And then adding the amber, going about halfway down on the leaves. And then the Ionian green is going to be a little bit heavier pressure, and I'm going to blend it, getting lighter as it meets the amber color. So heavier at the very edge, and then lighter pressure to the amber. All right, and then to activate this, I'm using a very small pointed end water brush. And I'm going to start with that lighter highlight first, and then working my way into the amber, and then just kind of barely touching into that green. Then clean the brush off, and then I'll go into the green and kind of pull it up into the amber. All right, this is tan, so just a little darker than that amber color. All right, now taking a chestnut, this is going to be for the mushrooms, and I'm just going to go really hard pressure. Oh, and this is the Graphitint pencil, not the Inktense. So hard pressure at the very bottom right edge, and then lighter pressure as it's moving up. And for the troll, I'm going to use Meadow. This is the Graphitint. And I'm just going to start like heavier pressure on the bottom edge or around the edges, and then lighten up the pressure as it gets to the top of that shape. And to activate this color, I'm gonna kind of grab the color where the lightest pressure and like the medium pressure meet, and move that around. And then I grab like the heavy pressure down at the bottom and blend that up. The shoes are going to be in the same shades as the ground, so I'm going to just do a light layer of the russet brown color with just a hint of meadow. For the hair, I'm using Inktense Amber for kind of an all-over color, but concentrating more on the higher parts of the hair, like the high bumps, and using light pressure. And then I'll come in with the Inktense Tan for the darker lower shadow parts. So I'm doing just a little bit harder pressure where I know these shadows or creases are. All right, now activating with water, and if I feel like I need to add some darker areas, then I can always go back in and do like where I brush the color on with a pencil, or I might just let it dry and then color over again. All right, off camera, I did the kid's hair in the tan color, and then I also did the boots in the russet color. I'm keeping the jewelry very kind of monochromatic with the troll. I don't really need it to stand out or to emphasize those, so this is also done in tan. All right, onto his clothes, I'm going to be using the Inktense Ionian Green. And I'm going to start with heavy pressure along the seams or inside these little creases. And then as I move away from that line, then I will just do a lighter pressure to kind of feather it out. All right, and then activating with a water brush. All right, now I'm taking the Graphitintse Meadow and I am going to just pull from the lead here. This is going to give the highlights just a little bit more of a yellowish highlight. All right, I'm gonna get my mixed media set out here again and use some of the paint. I really like this slate green color, so I think I'll use that for his pants. And since I want a darker green for layering on his shoes, I'll just use this color too. All right, now that the hair color has dried, I feel like it's a little too yellow, so I'm gonna come in with the Graphitint Ivy and just add some in these low light areas. And then adding just a little bit of this russet shade in the kid's hair. All right, and taking Inktense Cadmium Yellow and just adding a little bit more highlights in the jewelry and yeah, in this little rope area. All right, and for this one's pants, I'm using Derwent Inktense Leaf Green and also for the scarf. This is Cadmium Yellow, Derwent Inktense, and this will be for his hat and shirt. And then this color is Ocean Blue. Nope, take that back. It is Shadow with the Graphitint, and that will be for her hat and her little dress. And then just pulling a little bit of this tan for the shadows in the yellow. The puddle needs to incorporate all the colors around it, so I'm starting with a light layer of meadow, and then I'm going to use the ocean blue color, the paint, for the water look and just kind of a reflection of her dress. To create the ripples in the water, I'm using Cloud Gray, and I'm just going to form some circles around their feet, moving outward. All right, and then I think his shoes need a little bit more green splotches on here, so I'm adding a little bit more meadow green. All right, now to add some color pencil shading. I don't think everything needs to get a color pencil shading. The shading actually looks pretty good. There are just some things that I can either brighten or add a little bit more contrast. So for like these mushrooms, maybe I want them to be a little bit more orange, so I can add a little bit of a brighter orange on top. All right, I did do some white Posca off camera, but I'm coloring inside the raindrops, adding highlights to the jewelry, and I also outlined around the puddle and the top of the umbrella, just to make it look like the rain was kind of pooling on the umbrella, falling off, and giving it a little bit of a shine. All right, I have two pens I want to try on top of all of this. One is the Faber-Castell Pitt pen in white with a brush tip. The other is I found at a dollar store actually, and it says metallic marker, but it's actually just white. Now I did buy some other metallic markers. They had a gold, a copper, and kind of a rose gold color, which are very pretty. But this one is white. So I'm wanting to add a little bit more depth, like it's actually raining in the foreground and not just in the background. So I'm doing these little short diagonal lines that will cross over all the colored part. Yeah, and I think the dollar store marker definitely shows up nice on both the sky and across the troll. Yes, and then I think the Faber-Castell Pitt pen is a little bit more faint. It's harder to see that one on the troll, but it looks nice in the sky. So I get kind of a lighter and darker lines to help create that depth. I'm trying not to get too carried away, so a little bit goes a long way. Okay, a few touch-up things I did off camera and my final thoughts on this rainy day picture. So first I added darker reflection in the puddle around the feet and darker shadows underneath the troll shoes and tail. And as you can see, that puddle is kind of shiny. I did add some diamond glaze the diamond glaze is like a glossy accents. It is dimensional. And then the Sakura Glaze Pen Clear adds that shine but is not dimensional. So that is along the umbrella, along the back of the troll, and in the jewelry. I did darken up the hair with Prisma Color 1098 Artichoke. That was a good match for the hair, just to get a little bit more contrast in there. All right, so my final thoughts, I think is definitely a rainy day appearance. I like the streaky look the Graphitint created in the background, and I really like that foresty nature color palette. The contrast of the dark orange mushrooms brings your eye up, but then the boy in the yellow gets you to look down at them to focus your attention. I really like the diagonal rain. I think that really helped finalize the look of the page. So that was super fun to do. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you, Crafty Chemist, for your inspiration.